People say Alabama should be number one. I don't know. I think there's still a lot of football left to be played this year, and we got a tough game coming up this week going into Oxford. Uh, I don't care what the pundits are saying. Ole Miss is a solid football team, and if we don't go in there playing our best, we very well could walk out of there with a loss. So Saban's got to have those guys ready to play Saturday, because Ole Miss, they can make plays. They can make some big plays with Jevin Sneed, the quarterback.
Well, I think you're right about that, but man, Alabama's coming with some firepower, man. It makes all the Ole Miss fans kind of wonder what's going on. You know, we see the number one team in the country, and I know Alabama with Nick Saban wants to stay level-headed and say, you know, we're not worried about rankings this week to week, but man, y'all put a butt whooping on lots of good teams.
Well, you're right, Darren. They are playing solid offense, defense, and special teams. But I think I was telling Rick either last week or a couple of weeks ago, every year Saban has a bad loss. Last year it really didn't come to the end of the season in the Sugar Bowl, so it kind of got me wondering when it's gonna come now. And this game, I think it's fair to say that y'all over in Oxford had this game circled.
Oh, we've had that game circled since last March, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, especially since the last time Alabama went there and y'all got robbed by the referees.
Well, you know, it's in the SEC, especially in the SEC West, there's so many teams that you could say they have a good rivalry, but it's really on the teams that are playing well that the rivalry is rebuilt or rekindled, you know, because Alabama has pretty much been dominated by Alabama lately. And, you know, from the 50s and 60s, you know, Ole Miss, Alabama, that was, you know, toss up a coin, Bear Bryant, Johnny Ball.
That's true.
So, you know, we got a storied history, but, you know, this year, Ole Miss was knocked out of the top, you know, one of the top spots in the top 10 by a South Carolina team that, you know, many said that Ole Miss should have taken care of business, and they didn't. And, you know, they called out Ole Miss as posers, and, you know, we all heard that joke, what's the difference between Ole Miss and Brett Favre? Well, Brett Favre's still number 4. So, you know, it's just...
Yeah.
And I think from an Ole Miss standpoint, that's a good thing, because I would rather be a hunter than the hunted. And, of course, Alabama, y'all going to be the hunted all season until it comes to the SEC championship, I'm thinking. And y'all might just meet them Florida Gators.
Well,
yeah, I think you're right there, Darren. We'll probably be favored the rest of the year. But what you just said scares me. Houston Nutt has I think broke all 3 of our hearts when he was at Arkansas. That guy can motivate, can get a football team ready to play, and I've just seen him do it so many times and too many times to Alabama. If Alabama don't come out with their A game, I think they'll find themselves back on their heels very quickly. And I don't mean to get off on a tangent, but I think all 3 of us would agree that SEC football is without a doubt the best in the country. But I think we got the worst officiating in the country as well by what we've seen. So, Rick, I'm sorry, LSU and Georgia. LSU won a game, and that's the bottom line. But I haven't seen a worse call in a long time. And then they tried to make that up by giving an excessive celebration on LSU to make up for what they did in Georgia.
Yeah, I'm just glad we got Trendon Holiday.
Man, don't get me started on the excessive celebration rule. That is the dumbest rule in football. And if the NCAA doesn't change that, you know, I mean, you're fired up, you get in the end zone, as long as you're not taunting. You know, there's a difference between celebration and taunting. You know, set that 40-second clock, you know, get your partying done. But if you don't get back on the ball, you're going to be moved back for the extra point. I mean, Give them
I
that
agree.
40.
Well, let's get back to something I've been thinking about all week. And you kind of brought it up, Sherelle, but if you look at the knowing Saban the way I do, Houston Nutt's been the thorn in his side. It's been like a bad splinter. Either Saban has. We've had 3 games when he was at LSU where he just blew them out, and then them other ones. Let's see, Houston Nutt kept us out of 2 SEC championship games that I remember, and they've really given us problems. So do any of y'all see this as a Houston Nutt versus Saban matchup, or do you think that's out the window?
Well, you know, it's funny you say that. Houston Nutt is probably the only coach in the league that Saban could call a friend and have somebody call him a friend back. I read an article they had in the Birmingham paper talking about how, and I never thought about it from this perspective, that they got similar styles in coaching. Yeah, for some reason, if anybody can get in Saban's head and really screw with it, is Houston Nutt. And that's why I call it kind of master motivator. But
Yeah, well, Houston Nutt thrives on being the underdog. I mean, this stuff in Columbia, South Carolina, he can't handle being number 4 team in the nation and favored. Are you nuts?
And you know what? And I kind of blame you on this, Rick. You know, you said that. Houston Nutt has such a problem taking a team that's highly ranked and bringing them to the point where they're supposed to be. And it's you. And Arkansas is always a letdown. Well, guess what? Yeah. He's perfect.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line I see, we've got 3 minutes left. The bottom line I see is Alabama's playing the best football in the country. They're playing the best defense in the SEC. They're playing the best offense in the SEC. And I don't see any of us tripping them up unless they beat themselves. I mean, do y'all disagree with that?
I don't disagree. I say that this is going to be the first test Alabama will have.
Yes, it will be.
Put McElroy, at least that offense has had with the Ole Miss defense. I think if McElroy can get rattled a little bit, you might see some changes. But the only thing that's got me scared is that Alabama running game. Every year, God, they got a horse.
Well, they got, 3 horses now?
Absolutely right, Darren. That's the key to it for Alabama, is being able to run the football. If they can't run the football and become a one-dimensional team, then Alabama will have problems on Saturday. They have to establish the run game.
Well, I don't know, guys. I mean, Virginia Tech, Bud Foster is a pretty respectable coach. He's a pretty good defensive coach, and he threw a lot at McElroy, and they were able to come out with a win. I mean, the kid did have a good test in Atlanta.
Yeah, but you know, Virginia Tech, they've kept going. You know, I think they've gotten better since that game.
They have.
If you put Alabama and Virginia Tech together now, it'd be a closer ball game.
Absolutely. I think you're right there. Like Virginia Tech is once again the cream of the crop in the ACC. But Rick, you and I talked about it. McElroy's play is what has surprised me this year.
Oh yeah.
I'm just worried about what Ole Miss is gonna have dialed up for him. I know they're gonna have something he probably hasn't seen yet, and how will he react to that?
Okay, guys, look, we got a minute. We got a minute.
Yeah, Ole Miss is going to come at Alabama with everything they've got, because I don't know if y'all know this stat, but no Ole Miss senior this year has ever beaten Alabama, and around Oxford, that's the buzz right now.
Oh, really?
So, you know, they're fired up. Everybody's ready to go. I think defensively we're set. I think the big question for Ole Miss is going to be the offense.
Okay, so who wins, Barron?
I'm thinking Ole Miss can pull this one out if we can actually play 4 quarters, but I think it's going to be a 4 or 6 point game. I'm going to say 31-24, maybe 31-27.